Dave Spiers from GForce Software with the impOSCar2 and the impOSCar2 controller down with Future Publishing. So starting here, obviously you've got oscillator waveforms, oscillators 1 and 2. On the imp2 there's actually individual pulse width for each of the oscillators, whereas on the imp1 there was only one global pulse width mod. So there, oscillator 2, octave shift, detune, transpose between obviously nothing and plus or minus 7 semitones. And then you've got the wheels section, where obviously you've got your pitch bend amount, and these are basically your modulation wheels. These are for the routing of the mod wheels, because you can have them routed to, say, aftertouch and various other things. You've got your glide functions, time, and then there's various portamento modes, glissando, fixed time, and variable time. And then you've got your mix section between two oscillators, or with the imp2 there's a ring mod mode, which is kind of half and full ring mod, and that basically balances between full ring mod and the oscillator. And you've got your oscillator balance between oscillators 1 and 2. Noise balance, pink or white noise, pretty straightforward. One of the key things about the impOSCar2 is this kind of new aux mod section, where there are a raft of destinations, and then obviously you can route it to any one of the two LFOs here. Again, another enhancement, because the original impOSCar only had one LFO. You could sweep it with the envelope, and then you can figure out which envelope you want to sweep the various modulation destinations with. Same as on the original impOSCar, you've got envelope pitch, and then we get to the LFOs. So you've got obviously got a delay time or intro time. There's various sync options. Some of them are a lot slower than the sync options were a lot. They modulate a lot slower on the impOSCar2 as opposed to the impOSCar1. Rate, waveform, raft of waveforms to choose from. LFO2, same kind of thing. This is your filter LFO, so there's obviously your amount there, and then we get onto the magical filter. Same filter types as in the original impOSCar, obviously EQ, resonance, and then the separation, which is where this thing really comes alive. So you basically separate the two harmonic peaks, because it's effectively two 12 dB filters working in parallel. Obviously your filter cutoff amount, filter envelope amount, envelope 1, envelope 2. Envelope 1's normally your amplitude envelope, envelope 2 is your filter, but you can switch. So if you wanted to, say, assign the filter envelope to the same, so it has exactly the same settings as your amplitude envelope, you can just switch that to envelope 1 there. The various triggering modes, mono, duo, all your polyphony, gate time, which is fantastic for sequencing, when you're running an arpeggio or sequencers, your tempo, control. You can repeat the envelopes 1 and 2, or envelope 2, or just envelope 1, and then you've got kind of mono and multi and legato modes there. And then you get to your pan modes. There's 5 pan modes, which all have kind of different effects depending on what you need, and you can spread. Say for example you wanted a random pan, you'd put that onto number 2, and then you would spread each of the notes that you hit across the stereo spectrum with that, so that just gives you a kind of pan spread. And then obviously one of my favourite things is unison. Unison glide, where each of the unison voices glides at a slightly different rate to the next, borrowed from the OB8. Various modes, and then you've got unison detune, there's poly and mono unison, and then you've got the width of each of the unison voices. So if you combine that with the actual pan spread for the notes, it can sound huge. Simple things down at the bottom is basically just your effects section, left and right, delay, chorus, various modes, and then over on the far left the imp2 responds to poly aftertouch, and there are a load of controllers for various aftertouch things, various destinations and sources and amounts. And the Arpeggiator, much improved. You've now got octaves, -1, +1, +2. You can have pitch and play mode, so it will play back either in pitch order or in the note that you've played the notes, or in the order that you've played the notes, sorry. Keyboard hold function borrowed from the OB8 again. Play a chord, hit keyboard hold, and that single chord will then transpose across the keyboard, and you can add individual notes on top of that, providing they don't fall in the remit of that chord. And then just external or internal clock. Keyboard velocity response stuff, a lot of this is borrowed from the Prophet T8. So you can have, say, velocity to attack. So the harder you hit it, the sharper the attack there, or the softer the attack there. Again, release, exactly the same. That's in your kind of equal position. If you want it slightly longer release, if you hit the note harder, you would set it around there. Also drive, because obviously the imp has a separate filter drive control, so you can control the amount of drive that you overdrive the filters by. And again, envelope 2, or basically filter envelope peak.